Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this planet. Thanks for popping in again for Odd Talking to Me. Now, guys, there's a couple of things. The first thing, this is not going to be a daily show. For some reason, I have just over the last few days jumped on, so it's been pretty great. But please don't expect to be a live view. Now, also the big thing that you're going to notice, I'm in a different location. As you can see here, I'm actually out in our family room, which is kind of my nerd central. You can kind of see over there, I've got some He-Man stuff that's just off camera, and I've got a bench there I've got to kind of get rid of. But behind me, you can see all my Lego collections and my lightsaber, my power sword from He-Man, as well as Skeletor's staff. So there's a bit going on, and so I'm trying to do something different. And the great thing about this, guys, is look, I can be back here and then all the way forward. So I'm loving the fact that I've got far more space. The other thing that's really great about this is I get to stand up. So the idea is this is a stand-up table, and it's good for health reasons. You can burn a lot of calories by just standing up at your desk. So that's another reason behind it. So yes, some changes definitely being made. Now, today is Star Trek Day. Today, if you didn't already know, Star Trek is 59 years old. I assume anybody watching this is fully aware of this. And so it's crazy to think that next year will be 60 years since Star Trek has been in our lives. And it's incredible. And we've all got stories of how we got into it, right? Like, I actually talked about my story on a podcast that's coming up with My Figure Universe. So I'm not really going to rehash that because I feel like I've already spoken about it. Look, and that's what I'm seeing online this morning because it is morning here where I am. In fact, it's 7:30 in the morning. But it's just been nothing but post about them telling their experience with Star Trek, and it's all done from a wonderful place of love. Like, there's nothing that's nothing that's negative. Everyone's just sharing their wonderful experience with Star Trek. So here we go. What have we got here? Yeah. Sorry, I was getting a message there. It's bad. It's bad podcasting to read a message, right? Bad podcasting. So, look at it's my good friend Oddball again. Oddball, this is not going to be a daily show, but there was something I had to talk about today, so it's worth it. Hey, what do you think of my new setup here, dude? Look where I am. I'm actually out in my family room, which is really just at my place for Lego. There's some He-Man stuff over there. I'm going to get rid of this bench there, but yeah, this is coming along quite nicely. So good to see you, Oddball. So back to Star Trek. So being Star Trek Day and all the nerds are rejoicing, including me, they traditionally drop news. And as long as you can see the lightsaber, yeah. Not the whole time, but that is my pride and joy, that lightsaber. It'll strike you down. So, and that lightsaber, believe it or not, I'm kind of going all over the place because I'm answering your question, Oddball. Well, not a question, your statement, is the fact that that is the original lightsaber. The one that, well, it's not the original, it's a replica, of course, but it's the one that Luke grabs when he meets Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, that's the lightsaber I wanted. That's the lightsaber I made sure I got. And to hold it, it's probably the most uncomfortable lightsaber. To hold, the most comfortable one I found was Luke's green Jedi from Luke's green lightsaber from Return of the Jedi. So, but I love it. It's my pride and joy. My pride and joy. What do you mean? Got to click on this. Of course it is. Why would it be anything else? But let's move away from that great, amazing franchise. Talk about Star Trek. So they made a couple of announcements today, as they do on Star Trek Day every year. They make some announcements. There was one announcement that blew my socks off. And as you can see with just some of my Lego collection, a lot of it's actually down over there, but I don't have the camera pointed there. They announced something it's a big deal, that Star Trek is officially coming to, hey, I'm sharing the screen, and to the stage, Lego. That is right, people. Lego is coming to Star Trek is coming to Lego, which means there's an announcement in November. We're getting a full size, I think 3,500 piece Enterprise D. So Star Trek Next Generation ship, a giant ship plus all the minifigs are coming in a massive kit. It's been hard to find some official images, so I apologize for how small they are. But as you can see, they are kind of slowly going to start to release images of, the fact that Lego's like, and honestly, I had been at the point where I was going, I'm going to slow down on my Lego collecting. No more. I must have that. I will have that. So that was great news. Good on you, Star Trek, for announcing this Lego kit. This looks I thought was so cute. Isn't that cute? I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait. So that's great news, right? What else today? What other great news did they drop today in Star Trek world? They dropped this. The announcement of a new show called Star Trek Scouts. Now, doesn't remind you of anything else you've seen before, has it? Like, definitely doesn't look like anything that we've. Well, there's the thumbnail for today. So my version of it. I think my post is better. But I wanted to show you, and you're on my Facebook now. But it's basically this, right? So Star Trek Scouts is basically Jedi Young Adventures. So let's just get into the rant. Star Trek is another example of Star Trek becoming creatively bankrupt. It doesn't have any fresh ideas. So the idea is we're going to launch a show for toddlers. Why? Well, the answer is because it will attract new Star Trek characters. Well, for 5 generations, it never needed to. Like everybody who is an adult and a fan of Star Trek today didn't get into it because of some crappy Nickelodeon kid show. They got into it because they were either introduced because of family or they found it themselves. And what they saw was the Star Trek that everybody saw. They didn't try to dumb it down. What are you trying to do here? What kind of audience do you think you're going to garner from it? And do you know what? You really think going against this guy right here, from a toddler perspective, you got any chance? Bluey's king, mate, when it comes to toddler stuff, right? Bluey's king. We love Bluey. Bluey's the man. He will always be the man. And so, no, seriously, in all seriousness, this is a ridiculous idea. And I've got multiple reasons why I also think this is a ridiculous idea. In a time where there's so much uncertainty in Star Trek, your answer is to deliver yet another show the audience doesn't want. You know who's going to see this show? Parents who are Star Trek fans who are going to push this on their kids. Oh, what's this? You know, the fact that we have to dumb things down for kids these days really annoys the hell out of me. Because Star Trek, like I said, to have had its fan base for nearly 60 years, never had to dumb it down once in regards to it. And then, right, so they're going, well, we're going to be fresh idea. This is exciting. This is innovative. Really, it's innovative. Well, I gave up the picture before. Wasn't this innovative? Wasn't this great? Wasn't this universally loved and praised? And yet was cancelled. Like after the first season, Paramount didn't even want it. It was a struggle to get the second season, which was then released on Netflix. This was a show that didn't dumb it down for kids, but was visually attractive to kids. Now, there have been studies done for decades now about how kids absorb information. Like when you're a young formative age, yes, you'll pick up on ideas, but generally, even though if you don't understand it, you will find things about it that appeal to you. Like, do you think I knew very young about all the technobabble they spoke about in the original series or the films? I didn't know what any of that meant, but it didn't matter. There were other things to attract me to the show. They didn't need to dumb it down for me. No, I needed to grow into it, therefore giving me repeat opportunities to enjoy the show because I revisit it at different times of my life. And this show, yes, aimed for kids, but not once did they dumb it down. In fact, of all of New Trek, some of the best storylines that they did was on this show. Period. And so it makes no sense why you ruthlessly cut this thing's head off last year and then you deliver us a kiddie show aimed for 3-year-olds. You know, what's that going to do? In a world where there is nothing but kiddie entertainment anyway, you really think you can go against my boy Blue? That's the phenomenon. Actually, oddball, when I was in New York last year, that was one thing that blew my mind. We went to that famous toy store that you've seen in Big, you know, the piano dancing one. And we went there. Mate, Bluey everywhere. The Americans love themselves Bluey. I ended up going to university and learning the science behind it. Yeah, you did, right? I remember that. I also remember the fact that you know, you weren't having to watch. You didn't watch kiddie versions of Star Trek. You watched TNG. You watched Deep Space Nine. You watched Voyager. That's what got you interested as a kid. Small, large-scale structure of the universe at university. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's all right. That's all right. That's really cool, actually. And that's happened a lot, right? Don't we now have generations of scientists, astronauts, and physicists, and you name it, based upon them watching Star Trek? Not a kiddie version of Star Trek. No, just Star Trek. Oh, look, my lightsaber light went out. I forgot to charge it. My bad. Bad streaming, Jason. Bad streaming. But yeah. Yeah, Bluey rocks, right? Bluey's amazing. Mick Malloy, like my favorite character on there. That from the Late Show, if you remember. The fact that what also really annoys me is the fact that this studio keeps delivering dog shit with sprinkles on it and telling everybody it's a chocolate donut. Like, that's what they do. And people are smarter than that. But not everyone's smarter than that, because what I see today is because online is just the blind support, you know? And I kind of get that. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm going to call it out as I call it out. But being somebody who loves football and sport, I understand about blind devotion. I get it. You've got your team and you're going to just go for it. And you're going to ride it all the way. But, yeah, you know, now we've just, you know, we've got hordes of people who will blindly accept any crap that's given to them. And then a small minority of us who are going, look, we love Star Trek, but this is unacceptable. This is bad writing. This is bad decision making. We don't want this. Now, the argument can also be made, well, if you don't want it, don't watch it. Well, I won't be watching it. But do you really want to do that to your audience and isolate them? Because if I turn off, why would I turn back on again? If you're going to make me say, well, this is not for you, fine. There's plenty of other things out there to enjoy and watch. So again, Star Trek leadership from Paramount is showing poor decision making. Poor decision making. That is isolating fans and isolating individuals from, being part of a franchise that's meant a lot to them. And they're isolating them because you think they would have learned from Lucasfilm. Like, I love Star Wars, man. Like, Star Wars is my passion. I've got my tattoo, everything. I love Star Wars, right? But I don't love everything that they did. Do I like the Young Jedi Adventure show? No. Did I like a lot of the Lego Star Wars stuff? In the beginning, maybe, but not so much now. Did I like The Acolyte? No. Did I like the Book of Boba Fett? Well, some of it I did. So I'm used to seeing bad decisions being made with big franchises. I saw it with Star Wars. And they're now learning. They're going, well, we're not going to do that. And just to see Star Trek repeat the same mistakes when all the information there is in front of you and data to prove that may not be the right choice. I don't know, man. It's not for me anymore. And I don't want to be this morning just bitching and moaning about all this. But gee, talk about not, understanding where you are and what your fandom is. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so, yeah, I had no plan on getting on this morning. But Star Trek done pissed me off, so I had to get on here. Okay, can I ask a separate question? Please do. I'm up to episode 4 of Breaking Bad, and I don't understand the fascination. All I see is a poor documentary. Listen, let me explain Breaking Bad. Right, and it's not a spoiler because this was said by the maker early on. So let's just put it out there. Breaking Bad is a story of taking a good man and turning them evil. That's the story. How do you make the nicest middle school teacher into a supervillain? And that's what happens. It's wonderfully... Look, the first season, although very solid, is the weakest. But I guarantee you, if you commit to the show, the rewards are there for you. I wouldn't waste your time because it's a big commitment getting into Breaking Bad, but it absolutely delivers when it needs to. Great show. Wonderful show. Granted, I haven't got to the end of the season yet. Look, just stick with it, dude. Stick with it. Stay with that show. It is a great show. It's one of the great shows. I will say I haven't seen the sequel series, prequel series, Better Call Saul, about the lawyer, which you probably haven't even met yet. And that's the thing. There are a lot of great characters that are introduced to that show. And when it really gets going, mate, it puts a foot on the accelerator and it never takes it off. One of the great shows. Do you know the writer, the creator of Breaking Bad, and this is really interesting, was one of the writers on the X-Files. That's where he came from. He was an X-Files writer. And then when he was doing the show and he was thinking about who he would to play Walter White, he remembered that Bryan Cranston appeared in an episode of the X-Files. And he said, that's the guy. If I ever make this show, that's the guy I'm going to get. So it wasn't cast because he did Malcolm in the Middle. It's because he did an X-Files episode with that writer who then went on to create Breaking Bad. Very cool story, I think. Cheers. I knew you'd be able to explain. Yeah. Look, it's one of those shows, dude. It's one of those shows. It's it's iconic for many reasons. And the thing is, like, if anyone, have you seen this episode yet? You kind of got to clock them one because it's a show that if anybody spoils anything, well, then you're just evil. You're just evil. Don't spoil the show. It's a great show. Don't make oddballs experience less because you want to be smart about a factoid or say something cool about the episode. How about shut the hell up and let him talk about. And that's the thing I find out with people's spoilers. Here's the general rule I say. I ask if they've seen it. And if they say yes, I'll go, okay, to what point? I'll generally let them start to talk about the things they like about the episode, because it's the best way to ensure you don't spoil people's experiences. There's murderers, there's rapists, there's child abusers, and then there's people who do spoilers. Same. Should be jailed for it. I'm being a smart ass, but I'm kind of being honest too. All right, I'm not staying here super long. It's just be a real quick one. I just wanted to get on and bitch about how Star Trek has got it wrong yet again. But I'll be on the Star Trek show on, well, Saturday morning here at 10:30 in Australia, but a Friday night in America for my final episode for a little while, because I'm taking a bit of a hiatus. And man, am I going to rip into it at that show, because it's just all people live who watch Star Trek. So yeah, I'm going to definitely have my issues with what they've done in that announcement of Star Trek Scouts. But yeah, but we did get good news. Lego Enterprise, bring it on. And good night, folks. Good evening, good day. If it's a Tuesday, please be safe. Statistically speaking, more workplace accidents happen on a Tuesday than any other day. So make sure you're caffeinated, make sure you're focused, and enjoy the hell out of the day. And I will see all you guys next time that I feel like doing another I'm Talking To.